Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone around the world tuning in to the World Cup semi-finals this weekend. We have a string of very exciting matches for you throughout the weekend as we enter the stage of the tournament where only the top 12 teams are left out of over 50 initially attempting to qualify into the tournament. And we're starting out with another very, very close matchup here this morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time it is for you. Hong Kong versus Indonesia, seed 9 versus seed 10 out of qualifiers. Two teams who have had some really exciting runs through the tournament so far, facing off against a variety of very strong opponents already, and no exception here in the semifinals. My name is Dio, and I'm going to be casting this match alongside my main man, Demarsh. Good afternoon, Demarsh.
Good afternoon, Dio. It is afternoon for me, just had to double check that one. But Indonesia, yeah, they had a really rough weekend last weekend. I want to say not that they barely survived, but I mean they had to go up against Norway and Brazil. I mean that is a rough losers bracket run, and it was a close set of matches. 6-5 against Norway, and then 6-4 against Brazil. I mean that is victory not come easy for this Indonesian side, but they're still hanging in there. They're still here.
They're still here, but they do have another pretty tough opponent in Hong Kong. Hong Kong last weekend faced up against the United States in the winners bracket, and while they did lose, they looked the best against the United States that any team besides Germany has looked since 2018, when the UK managed to take them to bracket reset in the grand finals. The United States lost more points against Hong Kong than against anyone else in the past 4 years, aside from Germany. So this Hong Kong team, while there were some external reasons why the US lost a few extra points than they might have hoped during that matchup, Hong Kong is the team that forced those points out of them and looked very, very good while doing so. And that has to put the fear of God into you a little bit if you are Indonesia. Definitely want to come into this match prepared, as both of these teams as well really kind of feel like similar rosters. We were talking a little bit about this before the match started yesterday to Mars, so why don't you pick up our conversation here, because I know we talked a lot about these teams.
Yeah, I think the biggest point of contention between these teams is definitely DT. It's one of those weird areas where it's depending on whichever, I think, team will have the advantage in that area. And, bearing in mind that we've got 4 DTs, so it might not be decisive in each one, but I'd like to think that whoever can perform better today on those maps is definitely going to have that advantage, because it's really an area where both teams have performed strongly, is on their DT picks. But Indonesia, the biggest difference with them is that a lot of the earlier rounds, the earlier in the rounds you go, the better they perform on DT. But as we've got into these later rounds, these harder maps, you start to see Hong Kong really show their skill cap and their ability to play on these higher ranked maps, where Indonesia seem to have lost a bit of momentum on these DT maps. So it's whether they can keep up with whatever Hong Kong is dishing out. But I think those DT picks are going to be really important for Indonesia here.
Definitely have to agree. One of the other things we were talking about is how the different mods tend to favor some of these teams. You can see Hong Kong banning out that hidden 2 against Indonesia. I think that's a very solid ban. Indonesia, a very, very good hidden team in particular. Another DT ban actually coming up from Hong Kong here, taking out that double time too. So not willing to leave up a map like that, which really focuses heavily in on the stamina. And like you were saying, Demarsh, neither of these teams are really DT teams. Hong Kong is maybe slightly more favored on DT, but it's not like we're going to see speed abuse in this matchup, right? So for them to take out that DT2 says, we don't want to go full in on this speed abuse strategy, but I think they do still have ways to work with the DT pool, especially on something like that double time 3 or like the DT4, where you have really tricky sorts of maps in this DT pool that you wouldn't normally see put into a double time pool, that I think are there primarily because of how different the DT1 is this weekend. So really looking forward to seeing those two maps get played this weekend. And for Indonesia, I think you're looking at a Hard Rock ban or you're looking at a no mod ban. Hong Kong, extremely good at those two mod categories overall.
Yeah, I think definitely I'm leaning more towards the idea of a no mod, I think Hard Rock is, you know, especially when you compare last week's scores, it's not that Indonesia is a bad Hard Rock team. But again, we don't really have a lot of data on what actually Hong Kong is capable on these higher maps outside of, you know, qualifiers, I suppose. But you have to know, just if you've researched this team, which I'm sure both sides have done, then you know that Hong Kong, they are strong on Hard Rock. There's no doubt. There's a reason they'll always call up on it when it's needed. So I definitely expect to see that. But no, it's a DT4 ban. Okay. Interesting. Very interesting, that.
And I think that ban also makes a lot of sense from Indonesia. I mean, we were talking about Hong Kong as kind of this team that's slightly more favored on the DT maps. This is a map that you don't normally associate with the DT pool. It's a map that's in that kind of kip alt, full aim control focused alt style, but when you slap DT onto it, it becomes this sort of really awkward, gimmicky stream and burst map. And that's something that Hong Kong is very, very strong on. They have relatively good stream players. They have incredibly good aim control players. So it's something that I think their roster should be pretty solid on, and something that Indonesia, I don't think, likes as much. They tend to prefer some of the more aim-focused picks rather than stream-focused picks, and I think we'll probably end up seeing that a little bit in this matchup. And now we get the No Mod 4 pick to start for Hong Kong. I feel like this is a very Hong Kong thing to do. Just first pick the tech map in No Mod if it's left up, because you know you're going to be good at it.
Yeah, I mean, picking tech as a first map has always been a gray area for me. It's not something I'd immediately jump on as someone who's played map. It's a lot of No Mod 4s require good consistency out of the gate. I mean, they're typically not very long tech maps. I mean, this one is fairly long, I would say, for the sort of map you'd expect to see in this slot. But it means, you know, it's more focused on a bit of consistency rather than just, you know, two massive, really difficult sections that, you know, whichever player holds through tends to pull the advantage to their team. So, you know, I definitely think it's a nicer pick for Hong Kong, and something that I think plays into their strengths more than less, really.
Another thing to note about this map, it's not as focused on those really huge, weird-looking slider shapes as a lot of other tech maps have been in recent times. One map by Altai, a lot more focused on stream aim all throughout. Tons of cut streams, tons of acceleration and deceleration on the cuts as well. And yes, there is that massive slider velocity, but it's a lot of really comfortable slider shapes and comfortable slider aim. So I think we'll see a lot of mis-aims on the slider heads, but you're not really expecting what you see on, for example, Holgo maps, where you see a lot of people break on the slider bodies themselves. You're looking towards mis-aims on the streams and mis-aims on the slider heads to be the points of contention for these two teams. And I think that's, again, something that suits this Hong Kong team really well. A team that is very, very good at those types of cut streaming maps, especially after we see Indonesia ban out that double time 4. Again, really points toward Hong Kong wanting to take advantage of aim control on streams in particular here.
Yeah, for definite. I think when you look at the bans, it paints a picture that this is likely to be Hong Kong favoured. But I think we are at that stage of the tournament where we can comfortably say that there will just be maps that, on paper, should be won by a certain team just because of how difficult things are starting to get. You're not expecting. I mean, we're talking nearly 7 stars here. You know, it's not the we're a long way from those, you know, sort of 6.5, 6.3s where you'd expect even with not a full 4 team of tech players, you'd still expect to see good scores regardless. We're in that point where players can and do struggle on maps like this. So, I think having a good core of, 2 or 3 players that are really comfortable on this sort of thing has a massive advantage for your team.
Well, I think there's definitely more than a couple players who are going to be comfortable on this for both of these teams. And to be clear, this is the first pick for Hong Kong, but despite what we've talked about, I don't think any of these picks are going to be set in stone. We see a couple of traded breaks very early on. Shirahayuki, that noob guy, and Mindfrost ID all trading breaks early on in this map, as that's kind of what you're going to expect to see on a map like this. Another traded break for Mindfrost. It's not answered by the side of Hong Kong, so they do maintain a little bit of a combo lead now. That noob guy also finding another break, so a couple of struggling players for Indonesia on this map. Zito and Rexy is looking really good so far, but they're up against the 3-way full combo from MCY4, A21, and Suwagi. Shirahayuki not that far behind the full combo as well, as we get into now one of the more slider aim focused sections. We made it out of that cut stream section and into another different part of the map. You can expect misses from different players on a part like this as we transition into different styles of mapping. A21 did find the miss during this section, but nobody else so far. Everybody else holding on to those high combos, as now Indonesia starts to be able to find a comeback.
Yeah, Mindfrost, they're going to be running into a bit of a wall with the reset there. Rexy is dropping now as well. It's just Dito now with the full combo for Indonesia, as Hong Kong are in a much stronger position. There goes Dito on nut. What?
Caught off in the slow section, man. You hate to see it, but sometimes that's just how it goes. And at this point, I think this map is just about over. 2-way full combo left alive for MCY4 and Suwagi. And Shirahayuki still on a massive recovered combo. 500k score lead and climbing for Hong Kong on their first pick. And you can see why they went for this. Fun fact, Indonesia is actually the team with the best score on the tech map in qualifiers, but all for naught, as throughout the tournament, Hong Kong has shown time and again that they are willing to play this pick and willing to go for the win on it. First picking it here with a Blom, just completely crushing the pick as MCY4 and Suwagi continue to hold this 2-way full combo.
Yeah, I mean, it can't be understated. Suwagi played such a massive role in Hong Kong's 4 points off the US last week. Suwagi had amazing scores. MCY4 will drop the full combo towards the end, but Suwagi is just unstoppable here. All the way, my son. Go on. Wow. That is a statement right there.
Yeah, incredible scores for a couple of members of Hong Kong here. Suwagi and MCY4 in particular, over 800k. That accuracy for MCY4 is really incredible. Yes, these are comfortable slider shapes, but that doesn't mean that the slider ends are easy to hold. You see the accuracy for Suwagi. That should give you some indication of really how hard this map is to act. But MCY4 Shirahayuki with very, very good accuracy. Just outclassing the members of Indonesia on that, and you can see why they went for it as a first pick. That is an incredibly good team score already for Hong Kong to start off.
Yeah, I mean, you can just look at the scores from that, and unfortunately, very one-sided affair for Hong Kong there. I thought it would be, because I just looked at some of the scores that players put out last week, and I didn't really see any change in that. Of course, Suwagi, like you mentioned, struggling a bit more on the act than his teammates, but that didn't take away from the fact that that is an FC on No Mod 4, and a decisive one at that. That really paints a strong picture for Hong Kong going forward in the tournament, to be honest, that they can still pull really good scores on a map like this.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really looking forward to seeing some of the other more tech-focused maps in this pool as well from Hong Kong. Things like the DT3 or the No Mod 5. For now, though, it's Indonesia picking Hard Rock into Hong Kong. And I'm a little bit confused at this, because Hong Kong has been a pretty solid Hard Rock team overall, but that said, Indonesia played both Hard Rock 1 and Hard Rock 3 twice last weekend, so maybe a little bit better on the mod than some of their other scores would give away. Clearly comfortable on this pick to be first picking it into Hong Kong here in the semifinals. So a little bit surprising of a pick looking at how the rest of the Hard Rocks have gone, especially back in qualifiers, but we just saw how much qualifier results actually mean as Hong Kong took the tech pick with no trouble at all against the team with the best score on tech in the qualifiers. So looking forward to seeing what Indonesia can do on this. You see Hakwi Koyori coming in for Indonesia. That is Ruto. That is a name change. So whenever you see Hakwi Koyori, remember that is Ruto for this match.
Yeah, changing name there at the optimum time for the World Cup. It's semi-finals weekend, but that's fine. That's fine. Everyone's entitled to that. But yeah, a bit of a name change, but still the same player we know and love. I think that there's the potential for this to go well for Indonesia. I think they've probably scouted Hong Kong's play on this, or the performance they had on the Hard Rock last week, and just gone, you know what? I think we can do better than that. If they can't perform at that level, we can beat that. And I think that in my eyes sums up where this pick is coming from Indonesia. It's a bit of a scouted pick based on performances from the last week, and we'll see if it pays off here.
We'll see. It's a very different sort of Hard Rock 2 from the ones we've had in the past. The ones we've had so far have been relatively aim-focused or kind of alt-tech focused. This one, really stream-focused. Lots of 200 BPM streams in this map, a lot of flow aim in this map as well, and a lot of finger control in this. You can already see some chain misses on some of the streams coming through. F2X, Shirahayuki, that noob guy, and Tsuwagi very early on, all finding breaks already, so the consistency definitely not there for either of these teams. We see Rexy's also finding the drop now. It's MCY4, Delon finding another miss as well now for Indonesia. Ruto, Hakwi Koyori also finding the drop. It's Tsuwagi, the only combo really left alive for either team now, and Disaster striking Indonesia in the first half of this pick.
Yeah, they've let Tsuwagi in, and we know already that Tsuwagi is 1-0 for FCs this match, and had an amazing performance last weekend, so looking to run off the backs of that once again as Shirahayuki and Koyori find breaks. That noob guy Delon and Rexy's all finding resets. It's a complete restart for Indonesia, but Hong Kong still holding strong. F2X with a very nice recovery combo. Tsuwagi, though, still running away. F2X will drop, though.
And this is why I was confused about this pick. Not only Hong Kong has had the better Hard Rock performances in weeks past, but this is also a very streamy, finger control focused CS 6.5 pick, which is something that has seen bans from Indonesia in this match. And you can see the result of a pick that Hong Kong just looks absolutely incredible on. Over 900,000 score in the lead for Hong Kong on the first pick from Indonesia. 850k once again from Tsuwagi, nearly 700k from MCY4. Those two kind of the power duo here in the later stages for Hong Kong. Shirahayuki in once again for this map. Not quite as good of a score as they managed to put up on the Nomad 4, but to be expected, as this map, you can see just how hard it is by looking over at the side of Indonesia. Around 300k average there for most of their players, and really having a tough time putting together any sort of consistent score on this map, as Hong Kong now looking very, very good with the 2-0 start.
Yeah, and again, Tsuwagi is that player that a lot of people may not know as the face value name, but obviously is more known as Dragbit3, who has just had an incredible career, especially in the last year with the 3-digit World Cup. This was Hong Kong's 3 WC team, which explains why they know each other so well, really. I think this is a team that's made up of really well, with players that just know each other very well and are playing off the fact that they know their strengths so well that they're confident in who they put in for maps like this, really. But yeah, incredible stuff from Hong Kong already. Indonesia really need to look elsewhere, I think, for maps. I don't think Hard Rock is really the go-to here. Perhaps maybe into free mod is where they need to dip their toes on the next one. But this is interesting. Hidden 3 from Hong Kong here.
Yeah, this is another pick that I think at face value you think, well, why are you picking Hidden to Indonesia? Because this team is usually very, very good on Hidden. This is usually something that they are pretty incredible on. That said, this is a stream map. This is a flow aim pick. It's a pick that really focuses in on accel, decel streams, cut streams, space streams, pattern streams, like polygonal type pattern streams. So it's something that Hong Kong has had a good time on already. That said, I'm not sure I like picking Hidden into Indonesia anyway. This is a team that can easily find breakpoints on this mod. They have played a lot of Hidden all throughout the tournament. They pretty much try to pick Hidden a lot of the times. They played both of them in round of 32 and had better scores on both of the Hiddens in qualifiers than Hong Kong. So I'm not completely sold on this pick for Hong Kong, but I do think it's something that can work because the style of map really does suit them quite a bit for this one.
Yeah, it definitely seems like they're focusing more on the style of map and how it plays out rather than necessarily the mod. The mod doesn't seem to really be affecting their decision making at this stage, which is an interesting approach. I definitely feel like more traditional map selection is based on mods and what how a team is playing on a specific mod rather than the map style itself. So it's interesting to see this approach from Hong Kong, but it worked with their first pick, and I think they're hoping for a bit more luck with their second pick here to take the 3-0 lead to start off this first semi-final match.
And to be honest, any map where you have this 4-player roster in for Hong Kong is going to be a power pick for them. Suwagi, MCY4, Shirahayuki, and A21, those 4 players are pretty unquestionably the best 4 players on the side of Hong Kong in tournament. This is that core roster that helped them win the 3-digit World Cup in 2021. And had, or sorry, not 3-digit World Cup, 4-digit World Cup. And had a really, really solid run of lots of other tournaments with these 4 players as core. So really just looking to these 4 players to perform on the picks where they are in. That said, it seems like I've cursed them a little bit. They find 3 breaks right at the start of the map. A21, the only player to combo through that section for Hong Kong. Hakui Koyori, the only player to break, alongside Rexys, actually, for Indonesia. So 2 full combos to 1 right now in the favor of Indonesia. The accuracy, however, really helping Hong Kong keep it close at the moment.
Yeah, Hong Kong holding the stronger accuracy lead, really playing into their strength at the moment, but they are losing score comparatively to Indonesia on those combos. So it is going to start to go the other way. But again, a long way to go, so Indonesia definitely not in a clear advantage here. They've got really no wiggle room, as Mindfrost going to be dropping the break there, and that is going to start to swing things the other way, as that break is coming at a crucial time, as Rexy's also gone as well for Indonesia, so really not good on the combo now, as Hong Kong looking to have a much stronger recovery here.
There's still hope as long as Dito and Ruto maintain those combos. Hakui Koyori as well needs to hold on there for Indonesia to have a chance at winning this map, taking a break point. But like you said, Demar, so far, the recovery for Hong Kong has been fantastic. Shirahayuki, MCY4, and Suwagi all above 700 combo right now. A21 the lowest combo at 500. still better than any of the supporting combos for Mindfrost or Rexy's. Rexy's going to find another break there for Indonesia. And this is still looking like a relatively good pick for Hong Kong, in spite of picking what a lot of people would view as a comfort mod for Indonesia here.
Yeah, I mean, Indonesia they're not quite performing, I think, how they would normally. I think part of that is not having the roster I think they'd want in for this. Not to say they haven't got strong players here, but I definitely feel like they would make a couple of adjustments. Big misses there from Hakui and Rexy's there. A21 did drop as well, but it's just not enough against Hong Kong here. There goes Shiraha Yuki though, so they're down to 2-4 combos, but it's just Dito and Mindfrost with any combo for Indonesia, and with the score difference, I don't see a way for Indonesia back into this.
If we see chain misses here at the end for Hong Kong, it's possible. This ending spike is very, very big in comparison to the rest of the map. It's so difficult, but Suwagi just looks untouchable in this match so far, continuing to combo through the hardest part of the map. And with Mindfrost combo gone and a near 500k score lead accumulated for Hong Kong, this is already over. But Suwagi is just going to casually reverse choke this, I suppose. Hits the hardest part of the map, without question the hardest part, and finds the one miss there on the hidden 3. 867k again, above that 850k mark for Suwagi. 3 in a row at about 850k or better for the carry player on the side of Hong Kong. Suwagi has just been ridiculously good throughout the last 2 years of tournament play, whether as Dragbit 3 or Suwagi, and continuing to show off here in the semifinals, making this match much more one-sided than I think we expected at the start here. Indonesia really having trouble getting a foothold.
Yeah, again, it's early days though. You know, still plenty of time for Indonesia to come back into this, but I definitely think they need to rally themselves here with this next pick. I think they're going to find themselves in a really difficult predicament if they drop another breakpoint. So crucial picking needed here. Going into this, especially with how I mentioned Suwagi is playing right now. I still think there's a couple of options. I'm surprised they're not trying to push the DT yet. But Fremod, I think, offers a lot of options for them. I don't know which one necessarily they'll feel most comfortable on. But that is where I think I would go if I was this Indonesian side.
I mean, look at the 3 maps that we've seen so far. Nomad 4, Hidden 3, and Hard Rock 2. The thing they all have in common with each other is they're all relatively streamy. You saw all of the cut streams in Nomad 4. Same for Hidden 3. You see a lot of streams and bursts in the Hard Rock 2. I want to see Indonesia pick something that doesn't do that. Right? Anything that doesn't do streams. Whether that's the Nomad 1 or Nomad 1. I guess we're going Nomad 1. Which, it's not streams. It's definitely not streams. So I am happy with that pick for Indonesia, because they need something different. You can't just keep going into the same types of flow aim and aim control and relatively streamy maps, right? It's not working. So you just need something else, and this is definitely a shakeup.
Yeah, the alert is out. Nomad 1 is on the board. Much more focused aim map here. Definitely, I think what Indonesia need to push into this is very different, like you said, from what we've seen. But again, it's still got that 200 BPM element, so, 195. It's still going to feel relatively fast and relatively comfortable for this Indonesian side. So it's a good pick, I think, if they can pull it together. They've got the players on this lineup here that can perform. But I think they're definitely going to need to see some strong FCs on this map, because Hong Kong's not going to let them have this easy for sure.
definitely not. There's some very, very good aim players on Hong Kong still. F2X coming in here, kind of the aim specialist for Hong Kong. Very, very solid aim consistency player for them. Of course, Suwagi MCY4 in for pretty much every map for Hong Kong. And Nazar coming in as well for the first time this match, formerly known as Denier Nazar, or CLP. Long-standing player for the Hong Kong OWC roster, has been around nearly since the game started. I think since the early 2010s for Nazar, so has been here to witness quite a lot of World Cups come and pass. Hopefully here to witness a Hong Kong win, at least hopefully for him, in the semifinals here. Indonesia really looking for this break point. Hakui Kori, also known as Ruto, Mindfrost, Dito, and that noob guy in here for the Nomad 1. I think a roster that makes sense for them. We have not seen Ro yet, by the way. We also have not seen Fuma. So I'm a little concerned as to where those two players are. Hopefully Indonesia able to make the most of who they currently have here and put up solid scores on this Nomad 1 pick. An early break for that noob guy, but probably not going to matter too much here. It is a 3-minute map after all, and breaks right at the start tend not to matter too much, but you don't want to accumulate too many of them there. Hakui Kori finding another break for Indonesia. Traded with MCY4.
Yeah, it's actually better if you are going to have a break, the earlier it is, because it means there's much more recovery towards the end. And you can still put up a high score despite the early misses. But again, that's a third one for Indonesia here. They're starting to rack up in quantity. But a second one for Hong Kong here is going to slow things down. Nazar going to be finding one as well. So that's 3 apiece for each side now. But Dito again. So it's just Mindfrost against Suwagi at this stage in terms of full combos, but a lot of players struggling to hold combos here.
This map is a little bit awkward. It's not really your typical Nomad 1. You do see quite a lot of just straight up back and forth on perfect overlaps or stop and go jumps in this map, and some slightly awkward angles, some slightly wide angles, some anti-aim patterns where you have to go from very fast cursor velocity to very slow and vice versa really quickly. So it is a little bit uncomfortable. That said, it's still an aim pick. You see a couple misses there from Suwagi now, finally finding the first major miss in this matchup, and that spells good pick for Indonesia. If you can make Suwagi drop that high score in the middle of the map, that has to feel good for Indonesia now. You feel that chance coming for them as Suwagi drops. This is the carry player, and if he cannot perform, then you have a much better chance of winning the map overall for Indonesia. That said, MCY4 and F2X still standing in the way of a score lead for Indonesia. That noob guy, Dito, and Hakui Kori need to hold, but Ruto does find the miss there as that noob guy and Dito now up against just MCY4, F2X finding the miss. Dito gonna trade it. It's MCY4 and that noob guy. These are the only two players you need to watch right now as they determine the fates of both of these teams on this Nomad 1.
Yeah, this is the issue, is that because of the combo there from Nazar, he's kind of just holding that noob guy, even though he's got greater combo, but the break from MCY4 has definitely just opened the door for that noob guy, but he can't hold on to it. Nazar will drop. Suwagi is there with Mindfrost. It's another battle here to hold their nerves. Everyone else cannot hold a combo right now. It's Suwagi, Mindfrost. Very little bit of the map left, but it is going to go to Indonesia. They finally get on the board, but man, that was not easy.
Not at all. By the skin of their teeth, not even 30,000 points. Indonesia do manage to take that point, put themselves on the board. And I think, really, this strategy, shake things up, pick something that's a little bit RNG, pick something where Suwagi can miss is the strategy for the rest of the round there, as the very first map that they win is the only one where Suwagi is not above 800k. That needs to be your win con, I think, if you are Indonesia, is make Suwagi uncomfortable. Make Suwagi find those misses in the middle of the map, because otherwise you're going to be up against somebody who's got those high scores on basically everything, right? So pick into Suwagi's weaknesses. It's the semifinals. These maps are hard. These maps are just straight up hard now. You can have solo carry performances in the semifinals, and even if it's not a solo carry like we saw on something like the Hidden 3 for Suwagi, you can have really powerful performances that make it very hard to contest because of a single player getting that high score over and over again. So all of these picks for Hong Kong are really going to focus around their core four, their best players here. And for Indonesia, I think it has to focus around making those core four uncomfortable, making them sub players out, making Suwagi and MCY4 not be comfortable on these picks as we get another really aim control and finger control focused pick. A little bit different from the last few maps that we've seen, though.
Oh, yeah. Gotta love a little bit of burnt rice. This is what I'm here for. This is probably my favorite map in the map pool this weekend. This is such a great map. It's very short, but it's also very low BPM. But don't let that trick you. It's a very difficult map to, I would say, consistently hit. It's interesting Hong Kong have gone into this. I definitely think it's a strong pick for them. It's definitely got those tech elements that I think will definitely trip up Indonesia here, but I think that I think it's the sort of map that could go very badly for Hong Kong at the same time. Suwagi could definitely have something that even Suwagi could miss on, is what I'm trying to hint to, because it's a tricky map to hit consistently, but it is a short map, so maybe that plays into Hong Kong's favor here.
The aim control required for this is something else. Being able to consistently hit patterns in a map like this is a skill that very few players actually have, and you'll see what we're talking about when we get into it, but massive space triples all over the place, just gigantic snap aim patterns in this map at what is effectively 320 BPM, huge spacing in general on a lot of the alt patterns, and when you combine that with the double tap and finger control mechanics required to get good accuracy and combo through this, it becomes that much more difficult to actually focus in on the aim and not just flail your cursor around the screen. So we'll see how this one goes. It's a very good pick, I think, for Hong Kong, as they have lots of players who prefer going in on this style of really aim control heavy pick that focuses a lot in on that type of high spacing alti patterning, as we saw on their first pick in the No Mod 4. I think this is a really solid map for them. This is a good no mod team, and especially a good no mod tech and gimmick team.
Yeah, and here come the double tap sections, which trips up so many people. What? Crazy stuff, but big misses coming out from both sides there. Misses kind of coming all across the board here, but definitely favoring Hong Kong ever so slightly there. A21, Suwagi holding on. Mindfrost will finally drop there, but there goes Suwagi. A21 to hold against Hakui Kiori, but they're gone as well. It's just A21 here.
And when it's not Suwagi, it's somebody else for Hong Kong. A21, the only player to hold through the entire intro section.
Oh,
wait, that was Bancho? Oh my god, wait.
Oh my god,
all right.
Please stop.
So Hakui Koyori's miss was Bancho. 821 finds a slider break during the slower section. Hakui Koyori with the ability to take this home for Indonesia. No, that was also Bancho for 821. Okay, there's another one. Both of them break this time. Is it Bancho for either of them? Watch with me, chat. Is it Bancho for any of them? 821's was Bancho again. That's 3 of them. There's another one. The double taps, I think, messing with the tournament client here a bit as we finally, I think, get it again.
I quit. No, I'm done. Forget it.
Oh my god. 821 with, I think that's a full combo. I don't know if he broke at the beginning or not. Regardless, ridiculous score, S rank for 821. I believe that is full combo. 886k on the Nomad 5 with about 27 different Bancho misses during the map. Hong Kong go up 4-1 in this best of 11.
Right, this map is banned. All right, it's not playable. It's not playable. Get rid of it. Get rid of it. It can't be done. Can't be done.
Oh my lord.
Well, I mean, 821 just carried that map. Like you said, it was doable, and A21 did it. Didn't really get to see a lot of it because Bancho had a day there with the double taps. But I mean, you know, it made it interesting, to say the least. But a good pick for Hong Kong for sure. Oh, I need a moment. I need a moment.
Yeah, no kidding.
I need a moment to just.
By the way, apparently the score we saw on stream was wrong for A21. He actually got above 900k on that. It was 903,000. Because of course the score was wrong. I mean,
the client just couldn't catch up at the end.
The client really just was broken by the double taps. I don't know. It's not something that you see all that often. I really do think it was the double taps in that map that ended up breaking the client a bit. We get a completely different score from what the MP link. Back to the drawing board here a little bit of a reset. Indonesia going with more aim. Cannot blame them after their win on Nomad 1. This free mod 1 pick now. More awkward style aim. I think it's a very good pick for them. This map is a little bit different from the free mod ones that we've had in previous weeks. It is still an awkward aim map, but it's really focused on slider aim. Not in the Nomad 4 slider aim sense, where you get a lot of really high velocity sliders that are super long and with really weird shapes, but in the fact that there's a lot of slider jumps in this map that really frequently can force out easy slider breaks from players who are not paying attention to exactly where the slider heads are, exactly where those sliders start, because that's the most important part of this map, is aiming the slider heads correctly. This is definitely a pick that's a little bit hidden favored over Hard Rock. It's not super dense, it's only 210 BPM, it's AR 9.2. It's still a little dense on hidden, but that shouldn't really matter to either of these teams, who should pretty easily be able to put a hidden main on this map and have them pop off just fine. I think the real difference is going to come from the Hard Rock players, who will need to be on point with their mechanics in this map to properly aim everything and get those big combos in a map that is 4 minutes long for this free mod 1.
Yeah, this free mod 1 for sure it's what, like you say, one of the longer maps of the pool, and that requires a certain level of consistency, and I think Indonesia definitely want to test that against Hong Kong here. You know, it worked out on the Nomad 1. You know, again, more consistency focused seems to be a potential opportunity for Indonesia, but I'm hoping they're not just banking on the idea that Suwagi might miss, because as you can see, Suwagi, given the no mod for the team, so given the optimum opportunity to bring home an FC, so Hong Kong know the strategy for success, and I think that might require an abort.
I think so as well. I think we will probably be seeing an abort here as we get that noob guy leaving the lobby. So definitely needing an abort there. Not sure exactly what happened, but we'll probably be getting right back into it with the same mods on everybody in just a moment. We saw no overmods, by the way, for either team. F2X on the Hidden Hard Rock is preference. I've seen a lot of F2X playing tournaments throughout the year, and generally F2X prefers Hidden Hard Rock on free mods. So just taking, the preference, Hidden Hard Rock there for Hong Kong. Shirahayuki on the Hidden, no surprises. Mindfrost on Hard Rock only, and I think it was Rexy's on the Hidden only for Indonesia. Everybody else on the no mod, which is not a surprise in the semifinals. These maps are hard enough where over modding becomes an ill-advised strategy for the vast majority of teams. You want to guarantee as high of a score as possible on the free mod picks, which means leaving 2 of your players on no mod so that you don't have to put on extra difficulty on top of what the map already brings here in the semifinals.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, looking at the way this is going, it's all about relying on those players. I mean, you see that noob guy's had an excellent match so far up against Suwagi on the no mod. They really did have a battle on a couple of maps so far, so I think both sides hoping for repeat pop-off performances, but we'll see if their nerves can hold on these much trickier maps, as Rexy's going to be the first one to break the deadlock, drops the no mod. But again, a very long time to go with this map, over 4 minutes, so there is a lot of combo and a lot of recovery time.
Really looking for a break from either of the modded players at this point from Hong Kong. Again, like you said, there's not a huge score lead going over to Hong Kong at the moment, but it is there. And especially for the break to be on a no mod for Indonesia, it makes it very rough for a comeback to try to happen in this map, because you don't have that kind of guaranteed higher score anymore. You're looking at Rexy's as now probably 700k, 800k max. Mindfrost also going to find the break here on the Hard Rock for Indonesia, as Hong Kong really putting on a show here in the first half of this map. F2X on the Hidden Hard Rock still holding, does finally find the break there, finds the slider break to match Mindfrost, but that's just one matched break. Hakui Koyori now also going to break for Indonesia, so that is 3 breaks to 1 in the favor of Hong Kong. MCY4, Shirahayuki, and Suwagi. This core 3 roster here for Hong Kong just popping off once again. And to be honest, there's not much that Indonesia is going to be able to do about it. The 2 no-mod players in Suwagi and MCY4, also their 2 strongest players on a map like this for Hong Kong. So you do not expect them to find misses easily on a pick like this at all. And Indonesia really grasping for straws here near the end, as now their no mod player, once again, that noob guy, finds another break here. Doesn't look good on this pick for Indonesia.
No, I mean, it's all about consistency, and unfortunately Indonesia running into the wall of not having what is needed, and it's gonna require, I mean, you're looking at the score, it's hard to state it, but 500k is pretty much the difference. It's not quite 500k, but it almost is. So even with a complete reset from Hong Kong here, which hasn't happened yet, is really Indonesia's only chance. It'd have to be a break from MCY4, Suwagi, and Shiraha Yuki now to stop this, and it just isn't happening. Too strong from Hong Kong. Rexy's breaks.
Yeah, and I think that just about seals it. I mean, there's nothing that Indonesia can do at this point. This is going to be 5-1 for Hong Kong, and you know what? Hong Kong's got the next pick as well. It'll be match point for them, and they will be in control of their own destiny to boot. So really expecting another tech-focused, reading-focused pick here for Hong Kong, who have been just demolishing it this entire match, and apparently still a very good aim team, by the way, as we are looking at a three-way full combo for Hong Kong on this map, closing in on the end of the map right now. MCY4, Suwagi, and Shiraha Yuki all finding the full combo for Hong Kong. A lot of drop slider ends for MCY4, but that is the full combo and the three-way FC for Hong Kong on that free mod 1. Boy, really making that no mod 1 look like a fluke, both with how close it was and with how one-sided this free mod 3 pick was for Hong Kong. Just demolishing Indonesia once again, this time on their own pick, and this time for match point.
Yeah, it's so tragic as well for Indonesia. When you look at those miscounts and those 50s, they're so low, and it just paints it paints the potential picture of a completely different story where you could have easily seen those two nomads bring in FCs and suddenly have a very, very close match. But it just didn't go that way, unfortunately for Indonesia. And like you said, backs up against the wall. There is still a good variety of picks here for Hong Kong to see what they want to go for. There's a lot they can go into. There's Hard Rock, I think, would work out very well for them. Perhaps not Hard Rock 1 necessarily, but definitely everything else kind of just works for them as long as they don't pick into. I think No Mod 2 would probably not be the pick for them. But yeah, they have a lot of options here, really.
This is not what I was expecting.
No.
At all, actually. I really was not expecting to see an awkward aim hidden pick after Indonesia has picked 2 aim maps in a row. Yeah, very surprised by this. I think it's still a good pick for Hong Kong, and against a lot of other teams, I would be really happy to see them pick this, but against Indonesia in particular, I think it's a bit ill-advised. I think one thing that they do have going for them for this on Hong Kong is that this is a little bit faster and a little bursty in general than probably what Indonesia would like on a pick like this, so you're going to see a little bit more discomfort than usual on this pick for Indonesia. But that said, it's still your basic hidden one. It's a density check, it's AR 9.2, 228 BPM, lower spacing, pattern aim jumps, wide angles, awkward aim in general, lots of long jump chains in this map, and it's 4 minutes as well, so really focusing in on the consistency. Hong Kong has been the more consistent team in this matchup. They have been the better team so far. That is why they are 5-1 up right now. But we have seen on No Mod 1 where Indonesia can make some inroads and take a break point where necessary. So looking at this map, I think this is a possible break point for Indonesia, and we'll have to see them perform if they want to take this against a very scary core 4 roster for Hong Kong on this pick.
Yeah, and again, I think that awkward aim/aim control element of this map is what Hong Kong is banking on. It's been a bit of an issue for Indonesia thus far, and hopefully Indonesia can get it together on this one and show us why they want to stay in this tournament, as not being able to win this pick will mean elimination for Indonesia here. So their backs are really up against the wall, and it's Mindfrost the first to drop here. Early days, Rexy, Suwagi as well. Gonna be finding early misses. I mean, this map does hit you straight from the get-go. Not really much time for adjustment, so early breaks, understandable. MCY4 gonna be dropping as well now, so it's 2 full combos on both sides, but they're not the players that you'd necessarily expect early on. A21, Dito gonna be finding misses as well. It's Akui Kiori and Shiraha Yuki holding the line for both sides, but it favors Hong Kong slightly, mostly on accuracy. We have a lot of drops coming in. Dito, A21 finding trades here. Both sides have still got 1 full combo, so there is the potential for solo performances here. But Hong Kong holding the lead.
This is a scrappy map so far. We've seen a lot of maps where it's decided by full combos. It's decided by players just popping off and by an entire team getting a really, really good team score. Not going to be the case here. You already see A ranks on everybody besides Shirahayuki, Hakuikori, and Dito. Dito on a break as well. Shirahayuki going to drop this full combo now for Hong Kong. Hakuikori, Ruto with the full combo for Indonesia to try to bring this back. Suwagi's on a very good recovered combo, that early break not doing too much to the score overall. And MCY4 not too far behind, but being matched by Rexy's. So again, scrappy. The score is very, very close. It's 50k apart, not even at this point, as the score slowly moves towards the side of Indonesia. The accuracy helping out Hong Kong here, as they do have better overall accuracy. Shirahayuki and Dito going to trade the combos once again here for Hong Kong and Indonesia. We get through the 1/3 section with only those 2 players dropping, and now you've got some big combos built up for both sides. The matching high combos on Hakuikori and Suwagi. Hakuikori gonna trade it though, and Suwagi going to hold here. Mindfrost and Rexy's the only surviving combos now for Indonesia, and only able to match MCY4 and A21. Rexy's gonna find the slider break there on that long, fast slider, and now into the last quarter, we have an over 150,000 score lead for Hong Kong being built up, with only Mindfrost to match any of the combos coming out of Hong Kong.
Yeah, Hong Kong, unfortunately, bringing the pain here, as the great recovery from Suwagi is just going to be too much for Indonesia to respond. They've got, unfortunately, nothing apart from Dito right now on a big combo, but A21 is there, MCY4 is there. These are the players that have been doing the work. Suwagi will drop at the end, but it really isn't going to matter. Supporting combo is there for Hong Kong. And it's unfortunate to say, but with this, Hong Kong are going to get their final point that is needed, and will be sending Indonesia out of OWC this year.
And this is a very one-sided overall match. I mean, you look at the score leads in this matchup, and I think there was only the Nomad one that was relatively close. Every other pick won by Hong Kong, and not by a small margin. This last point as well, over 500,000 in Hong Kong's favor, as they prove without a shadow of a doubt in my mind that they deserve to move on into the top 8 here, knocking Indonesia out of the tournament in top 12. And a very solid performance for this Indonesia team. I don't think a lot of people expected Indonesia to still be this good after losing several of their best players this year, but Indonesia really still putting on a good show in the OWC World Cup this year, still finishing in the semifinals, and no shame at all in losing to a Hong Kong roster which looks extremely strong here going into the top 8.
Yeah, fortunate for Indonesia. I don't think they just had didn't have the full roster, so any performance that they could put up with the limited players they have is a good one. But again, I still think that even with a full team, Hong Kong, we're going to be tough to beat. Again, plays from Suwagi and stuff. They were just incredible early on in this match. Really set a good precedence going forward for Hong Kong, and they are going to need to perform as well, if not better, going into their next losers bracket round, because they will be back tomorrow to play against the winner of Canada versus Australia. As you can see, we have upcoming